Good morning, my friends. Today we stand on the edge of a truth that has the power to transform our lives. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Every morning that you open your eyes, it is not an accident, it is not a coincidence, it is a gift. How often do we rush into the day, forgetting that the very breath in our lungs is a reason to whisper, "Thank you." Gratitude is not just a reaction, it is a posture, it is a way of living, it is a doorway to experiencing joy in every season. And when you learn to thank God for the little things, you begin to see that nothing in your life is truly little at all. The power of waking up with gratitude is one of the most overlooked keys to living a fulfilled life. Every morning when your eyes open, you are being given another chance, another opportunity, another invitation to live, to love, to create, to grow. But the question is, do you recognize it? Or do you take it for granted? Gratitude begins the very moment you rise, the very second your feet touch the floor. It is not just about saying thank you with your lips. It is about living thank you with your heart. Think about it. Millions went to sleep last night and never woke up this morning, but you did. Do you realize what that means? It means your purpose is still intact, your assignment is not yet finished, and your story is still being written. That is why gratitude is not optional, it is essential. When you wake up with a spirit of thanksgiving, you reframe your entire day before it even begins. The enemy cannot discourage a grateful person, because no matter what comes their way, they already made the decision to rejoice. Gratitude is powerful because it shifts your perspective. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, you begin to appreciate what you do have. Instead of worrying about tomorrow, you begin to celebrate today. Gratitude turns ordinary mornings into extraordinary beginnings. When you rise with thanksgiving, even the smallest blessings, your health, your family, your job, your peace of mind, become treasures you no longer ignore. And when you honor the giver with gratitude, you position yourself to receive even more. Do you understand what happens when you wake up thankful? You silence fear, you silence doubt, you silence negativity before it can take root. You give permission for joy to overflow, for peace to reign, for hope to expand. Gratitude unlocks creativity. It opens your eyes to opportunities you would otherwise miss, and it sets your spirit in harmony with heaven. That is why waking up with gratitude is not just a ritual, it is a weapon. It guards your heart, it fuels your faith, and it attracts favor into your life. So I ask you, how did you wake up this morning? Did you wake up with complaints? Or did you wake up with thanksgiving? Did you open your eyes and grumble about what you don't like? Or did you whisper, "Thank you, God, I'm alive"? The way you begin your morning sets the tone for everything else that follows. Gratitude is like a seed. It multiplies what you honor, it grows what you value, and it turns small beginnings into great outcomes. And here's the truth. When you master the art of waking up with gratitude, you will begin to see life differently. You will realize that every sunrise is not just another day, but another chance. Every morning is proof that your life has meaning. But here's the question you must ask yourself. If gratitude in the morning carries this much power, then what happens when you learn to see every moment as something to be thankful for? Because that, my friends, is where the journey takes us next. Every morning is a gift, not a guarantee. Do you understand how powerful that truth is? You don't own tomorrow. You don't even own the next hour. All you truly have is the moment that the God has placed in your hands right now. When you woke up this morning, it wasn't because your alarm clock had the power to pull you out of sleep. It wasn't because your body had the strength on its own. It was because grace touched you, mercy carried you, and purpose called you back into another day. That is why every morning must be treated as sacred. Life itself is fragile, it is delicate, it is a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away. Yet how often do we live as though we are entitled to another sunrise, another breath, another chance? No, my friends, every morning you rise is a divine gift. It is heaven reminding you that your mission on earth is not yet complete. That is why you must approach each new day with humility, with gratitude, and with expectation. Because when you see the morning as a gift, you no longer waste it, you no longer despise it, you no longer rush through it, you treasure it. The difference between those who live with joy and those who live with frustration is often how they see their mornings. One person wakes up angry, complaining, already focused on what went wrong yesterday, already anxious about what might happen tomorrow. But another person wakes up thankful, aware that this day was not promised, aware that this opportunity could be their last, and they choose to maximize it. Which one are you? Do you receive the morning as a gift, or do you treat it as just another ordinary routine? When you embrace the morning as a gift, it changes the way you pray, it changes the way you think, it changes the way you treat people. You realize that nothing is guaranteed, so you learn to forgive quickly, to love deeply, to laugh often, to live fully. You stop postponing joy for some future day and start experiencing it right where you are. Because when you wake up with the awareness that this day is a gift, you stop living in fear of losing it and start living in the freedom of using it. Every gift has a purpose, and every morning carries a purpose too. You weren't just given today to survive, you were given today to thrive, to make impact, to shine your light, to advance in your calling. And if God saw it fit to give you another morning, it means He still has something waiting for you to accomplish, something waiting for you to unlock, something waiting for you to release into the world. So let me ask you, if this morning was given to you as a gift, how are you going to use it? Will you bury it under worry, or will you multiply it with gratitude and faith? Because here's the truth. You can thank God for the morning, but what do you do with the moments that follow? That, my friends, is where we are going next. The secret of thankfulness in daily living is that it transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Gratitude is not something you practice once a week, not something you save for a holiday, not something you reserve for special occasions. It is a lifestyle, a constant posture of the heart. When thankfulness becomes part of your daily living, it shifts the way you see everything around you. Suddenly, the little things you once ignored become treasures. The moments you once overlooked become miracles, and the challenges you once feared become opportunities for growth. Thankfulness has the power to change your atmosphere. A complaining spirit attracts heaviness, but a grateful spirit attracts joy, peace, and hope. Have you noticed that thankful people carry a different energy? They walk lighter, they smile brighter, they handle storms with calmness, and they see possibilities where others see problems. Why? Because gratitude gives them perspective. Instead of magnifying what is wrong, they magnify what is right. Instead of focusing on what is missing, they celebrate what is present. That's why gratitude is called a secret, because while many people chase happiness in things, in money, in positions, the thankful person discovers happiness in what they already have. Thankfulness in daily living is also a magnet for more. When you show appreciation for the blessings you already carry, you qualify yourself for greater blessings. But when you despise what you have, when you overlook the small, you block yourself from receiving the bigger things waiting for you. The truth is, no one wants to give more to someone who cannot appreciate the little they already possess. And God operates the same way. If you can be thankful in small beginnings, He can trust you with greater abundance. So I ask you, how are you living each day? Are you rushing through life without pausing to say, thank you? Do you see your family as a gift, your job as a blessing, your health as a miracle, your peace of mind as a treasure? Or do you overlook them because they seem too common? What you call common is what someone else is praying for right now. And if you fail to be thankful daily, you risk missing the beauty of life that is right in front of you. Thankfulness doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means choosing to see beyond them. It means even when things are tough, you still say, I may not have everything I want, but I have enough to keep moving forward. It means deciding that joy will not be stolen by circumstances, but will be rooted in gratitude. That is how you carry strength through storms, peace through pressure, and hope through hardship. But here's the deeper truth. Thankfulness in daily living is not just about how you see the present. It is about how you shape the future. Because when you live in gratitude, you begin to unlock doors that complaining can never open. And if gratitude holds such power in the present, imagine what happens when it becomes the seed of joy and peace for your tomorrow. Gratitude is the seed of joy and peace. Just like every tree begins with a seed, every life filled with joy and peace begins with thanksgiving. Joy does not appear by accident. Peace does not simply fall from the sky. They are both harvested from the soil of gratitude. When you plant thankfulness in your heart every day, you water it with your words, you nurture it with your perspective, and soon it grows into joy that circumstances cannot shake and peace that storms cannot steal. Joy is not happiness. Happiness depends on what happens to you, but joy flows from what happens inside of you. When you live with gratitude, you anchor yourself in joy that no job loss, no betrayal, no disappointment can destroy. Because gratitude keeps your focus on what is unchanging, on what is eternal, on what is greater than the temporary struggles around you. That is why thankful people smile, even in seasons of lack. That is why they walk with confidence, even when things look uncertain, because their joy is rooted in a thankful heart. And peace is the companion of gratitude. When you give thanks, you release the burden of trying to control everything. You release the anxiety of worrying about tomorrow. You release the fear of what might happen. Gratitude says, I trust the one who gave me this day. I rest in the one who holds my life. And from that trust flows peace. Peace that guards your mind. Peace that protects your spirit. Peace that surpasses understanding. Gratitude is not just polite manners. It is the secret doorway to inner calm. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that ungrateful people are often restless? They are easily angered, easily stressed, easily dissatisfied. Why? Because their hearts are empty of gratitude, but a grateful person, even with little, can sleep soundly. A grateful person, even under pressure, carries peace. Gratitude produces stability in the soul, and that stability is what we call peace. So I ask you today, what kind of seed are you planting in your life? Are you planting complaints, frustration, negativity, bitterness? Because those seeds will only produce sorrow and unrest. Or are you planting gratitude, thanksgiving, appreciation, and praise? Because those seeds will always grow into joy and peace. Remember, no seed remains small once it is planted. It multiplies. The seed of gratitude multiplies into joy, multiplies into peace, multiplies into strength. And here's the wonder. Once gratitude begins to grow, joy and peace spread into every area of your life. They shape your relationships. They shape your decisions. They shape your outlook. You stop living from a place of fear and start living from a place of abundance. You stop worrying about what's missing and start celebrating what's already present. That's the transforming power of gratitude. But if gratitude is the seed of joy and peace, then what about the very breath you take? Why does every breath deserve thanksgiving? That, my friends, is where we will go next. Why does every breath deserve thanksgiving? Because breath is life and life is purpose. Do you realize that the very air moving in and out of your lungs right now is not something you created, not something you earned, not something you control? It is a gift freely given moment by moment, by the one who sustains you. Every breath is proof that your assignment is not finished, proof that you are still needed on this earth, proof that heaven still has work for you to accomplish. That is why every breath you take should be wrapped in gratitude. Think about it. Breath is the most constant miracle you will ever experience. You may not see it, but you depend on it more than anything else. You can live without food for weeks, without water for days, but without breath you cannot survive even minutes. And yet, how often do we take it for granted? How often do we rise in the morning, breathe deeply, and forget to whisper, "Thank you"? Breath is the silent testimony of grace. It flows without your permission. It continues even while you sleep. It sustains you even when you are unaware. Shouldn't every breath then be a reminder to live thankfully? Breath also carries meaning. With every inhale, you are receiving life. With every exhale, you are releasing life into the world. The words you speak, the songs you sing, the prayers you offer, all flow from the breath within you. That means breath is not just survival. It is influence, it is expression, it is creation. And when you thank God for every breath, you are acknowledging that your life is more than existence, it is impact. Consider this. Someone in a hospital bed right now is fighting for every breath. Someone is connected to machines, longing for what you have freely. Someone is counting each inhale as a victory. And yet here you are, breathing without effort, without pain, without struggle. That alone is a reason to be grateful beyond words. Gratitude for breath reminds you not to complain, not to waste your days, but to honor the gift of being alive. Every breath is also an opportunity. With each inhale, you are given one more chance to forgive, one more chance to love, one more chance to dream, one more chance to live with purpose. Every exhale is a chance to release bitterness, release fear, release anger, release doubt. Breath is a rhythm, a divine cycle of receiving and releasing. And when you live with gratitude for every breath, you align yourself with that rhythm. You stop holding on to negativity and you begin to breathe out peace, joy, and faith into your atmosphere. So let me ask you, have you thanked God for the breath in your lungs today? Have you paused to recognize that this breath means destiny still calls your name? Because if every breath is a reason for thanksgiving, then imagine what happens when your heart itself begins to live with gratitude, when thankfulness becomes the very posture of your being. That, my friends, is where the journey leads us next. Living with a heart that counts blessings is the difference between living in joy and living in sorrow, between living in peace and living in frustration. A heart that counts blessings does not ignore problems, but it refuses to let problems overshadow the gifts already present. Do you realize how powerful it is to stop, look around, and actually count the things you've been given? The family you have, the strength in your body, the mind that can still think, the roof over your head, the food on your table, the people who love you. These are blessings. They may feel small when compared to what you desire, but they are treasures when compared to what many others lack. The tragedy of life is not the absence of blessings, it is the blindness to blessings. Most people do not need more miracles, they need more awareness. They are surrounded by blessings, but cannot see them, because their eyes are fixed on what is missing instead of what is present. A heart that counts blessings knows how to shift the focus. It does not ask, why don't I have more? It asks, how can I honor what I already have? That shift alone brings peace. It brings contentment. It brings joy. Do you understand that counting blessings is an act of faith? It is declaring that what I have right now is enough to give thanks for, even while I wait for more. It is acknowledging that if God never gave me another thing, I still have reasons to be grateful. When you live like that, you break the chains of discontent. You stop measuring your life by comparison, and you begin measuring it by gratitude. And suddenly, Envy loses its grip, jealousy loses its voice, and greed loses its power. A heart that counts blessings also multiplies blessings, because what you honor grows and what you ignore shrinks. When you thank God for the little, you open the door for the much. When you show appreciation for today, you position yourself for greater tomorrows. Gratitude turns the little into enough and enough into abundance. But complaining turns abundance into lack. It makes blessings invisible. It shuts doors that were meant to be open. So let me challenge you. Have you sat down lately and actually counted your blessings? Have you written them, spoken them, remembered them? Or are you too busy counting your problems? The truth is, problems will always be there, but blessings will always be greater if you take the time to notice them. The question is, which one will you magnify? And here is where it becomes even deeper. Because counting blessings is not just about what you see. It is about recognizing the miracle in every sunrise, the wonder in every new beginning. And if every new day holds a hidden miracle, then surely the morning itself is carrying something extraordinary. That, my friends, is what we will uncover next. The miracle hidden in every sunrise is a message that life itself is constantly offering you fresh beginnings. Each time the sun rises, it declares that yesterday is over, last night is gone, and today is a brand new opportunity. Isn't that powerful? The mistakes of yesterday, the pain of yesterday, the failures of yesterday, they do not have the authority to cancel today's possibilities. Every sunrise whispers to your soul, start again, try again, believe again. And yet, how often do we open our eyes, see the light of morning, and rush past it without pausing to honor the miracle it carries? Do you realize what happens when the sun rises? Darkness surrenders. No matter how deep the night, no matter how heavy the shadow, when light comes, darkness has no choice but to flee. That is not just science, that is revelation. Every sunrise is a reminder that no matter how dark your season feels, light will come. No matter how long your struggle has lasted, there is always a morning when breakthrough appears. That is why the sunrise is not just natural, it is spiritual. It is God's daily reminder that nothing stays the same and that your night will not last forever. The miracle of the sunrise is also in its consistency. Every single day, without fail, it appears. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to earn it. It comes because of the faithfulness of the Creator. And if the sun rises faithfully every morning, how much more will He remain faithful in your life? The sunrise is a daily testimony that He keeps His word, that He sustains His creation, and that His mercies are new every morning. When you see the sun, you should also see mercy. When you see the dawn, you should also see grace. But here's something deeper. Every sunrise is universal. It shines on the rich and the poor, the weak and the strong, the righteous and the unrighteous. It does not discriminate. That means the gift of a new day is available to everyone, but not everyone uses it. Some complain through it, some waste it, some ignore it. But the wise, the thankful, the ones who recognize the miracle, they maximize it. They see each sunrise as an opportunity to forgive, to build, to learn, to grow, to love, to live fully. So let me ask you, how do you treat the sunrise? Do you see it as just another morning, or do you see it as a miracle? Do you open your eyes and run into the day without awareness? Or do you pause to thank God that light has once again touched your life? The way you respond to the sunrise determines the way you walk through the day. And yet, if the sunrise itself carries such power, imagine what happens when you learn to speak the language of the Spirit, the language of gratitude that goes beyond words. Because thankfulness, when it becomes your language, begins to shape your destiny. And that, my friends, is where we are heading next. Gratefulness is the language of the Spirit. It is not just words spoken with the mouth. It is an attitude expressed from the heart. Do you realize that heaven responds to gratitude? That when you give thanks, you are speaking the language that aligns with the will of God, the frequency that connects you to His presence. Complaining does not move God. Murmuring does not impress Him, but gratitude. Gratitude opens the heavens. Gratitude is the sound that says, I trust you even when I don't understand. I thank you even when I cannot see the full picture. The language of the Spirit is not limited by culture, race, or background. Gratitude transcends them all. You can go anywhere in the world, in any nation, and people recognize thanksgiving. Why? Because it is a universal expression of the soul. But when it is directed to God, it becomes spiritual power. The thankful heart speaks what angels understand. It sings what heaven celebrates. It declares what faith affirms. Every thank you spoken in sincerity is not just noise. It is a spiritual declaration that keeps your life in alignment with divine order. Gratefulness as a language also transforms communication. When you live thankful, you begin to speak differently to people. Instead of criticizing constantly, you begin to affirm. Instead of tearing down, you begin to build up. Instead of complaining, you begin to appreciate. Gratitude softens your tone. It shapes your words. It shifts the way you relate to those around you. And because words carry power, gratitude in your speech produces peace in your relationships. How many conflicts could be healed if people learned to speak the language of thankfulness? Gratefulness also unlocks spiritual authority. Do you remember what happens when you give thanks in prayer? Your prayers shift from desperation to confidence. Instead of begging as if God forgot you, you begin thanking Him as if the answer is already on the way. That is the language of faith, and that is the language of the Spirit. Thanksgiving in prayer is not a ritual. It is a declaration that what God promised, He is able to perform. But here is something even deeper. When you cultivate gratefulness, your spirit becomes unshakable. Trials may come, storms may rise, but gratitude is your anchor. You begin to live above circumstances because your language is not controlled by situations. It is controlled by faith. And when your language is gratitude, you silence the enemy, you confuse the accuser, you overcome discouragement. The enemy cannot stand a grateful heart because it refuses to bow to despair. So let me ask you, what language are you speaking daily? Are your words filled with complaint, or are they filled with gratitude? Are you speaking defeat, or are you declaring thanksgiving? Because the language you speak is shaping the life you live. And if gratitude is the language of the Spirit, then what happens when that gratitude begins to open doors, when it becomes the very key that unlocks greater blessings in your life? That, my friends, is the discovery we will explore next. When gratitude opens the door to greater blessings, it proves that thanksgiving is not just a reaction, it is a key. Doors that complaining cannot unlock, gratitude opens. Opportunities that murmuring will close, gratitude will attract. Do you realize that some of the blessings you are praying for are not waiting on God? They are waiting on you to shift your attitude, because God will not pour more into a vessel that refuses to appreciate what it already carries. But the moment you begin to give thanks, even for the little, you qualify yourself for the much. Gratitude is a magnet. It draws favor, it draws opportunities, it draws provision, it draws relationships. People are more willing to give, more willing to help, more willing to trust a thankful heart. And if people respond to gratitude, how much more will heaven respond? When you thank God for what He has already done, you position yourself under an open heaven for what He is about to do. Gratitude says, I may not have everything I want, but I value everything I've been given. That posture always attracts increase. Think of the stories of old. How often did breakthrough follow thanksgiving? When food was multiplied, thanksgiving came first. When doors were opened, thanksgiving was offered. When miracles unfolded, thanksgiving preceded the power. Gratitude does not wait for the blessing, it welcomes the blessing. It creates an environment where miracles are free to manifest. Complaining pushes blessings away, but thanksgiving pulls them closer. And here's something deeper. Gratitude shifts your vision. Sometimes the blessing is already in your life, but you cannot see it because your heart is clouded with negativity. Gratitude opens your eyes. It allows you to see value in what you thought was small. It allows you to recognize opportunity in what you thought was ordinary. Many people miss the blessing because they do not recognize it, and they do not recognize it because they never pause to be thankful. Gratitude turns common ground into holy ground and ordinary days into extraordinary encounters. Gratitude also creates overflow. It multiplies what you honor. Have you noticed that thankful people seem to always receive more? Not because life favors them by chance, but because gratitude makes them good stewards of what they already have. If you are faithful with little, more will always come. If you are thankful for today, tomorrow will carry greater abundance. Gratitude opens the door, but it also keeps it open. So let me ask you, are you standing outside closed doors of opportunity, or are you walking through open doors created by thanksgiving? Are you repelling blessings with complaint or attracting them with gratitude? Your attitude is the key to your access. But here is the question that takes us even further. If gratitude opens the door to blessings, then what happens when your life itself becomes a testimony of thankfulness, when every ordinary moment is transformed into a miracle? That, my friends, is where the journey leads us next. How thankfulness transforms ordinary moments into miracles is one of the greatest truths you will ever discover. Because gratitude has the power to change not just how you see life, but how life itself unfolds for you. Most people think miracles are only the big, dramatic moments, the healing of the sick, the opening of prison doors, the sudden breakthrough that changes everything. But the truth is, miracles are happening around you every single day, and it takes a thankful heart to see them. When you stop and thank God for the ordinary, the smile of a child, the food on your table, the roof over your head, the laughter of a friend, the strength to get out of bed, you begin to realize that these so-called ordinary moments are not ordinary at all. They are extraordinary. Gratitude opens your eyes to the hidden hand of God, working in ways you often overlook. What others call routine, a thankful heart calls miraculous, because nothing in life is truly small when it carries the touch of God. Do you realize how much of your life you miss when you are ungrateful? You rush through the day chasing after something bigger, and all the while, miracles are passing you by in the form of moments you thought were insignificant. But when you live with thankfulness, you begin to treasure the present. You begin to slow down. You begin to see God's fingerprints in the details. That shift alone turns ordinary mornings into sacred encounters, ordinary meals into communion, ordinary conversations into moments of destiny. Gratitude makes the invisible visible. Thankfulness also multiplies the impact of every moment. When you are grateful for the little time you have, you use it wisely. When you are thankful for the people in your life, you love them more deeply. When you are grateful for your opportunities, you maximize them fully. And as you do, those small daily acts that others overlook, begin to shape miracles that change lives. A kind word spoken with gratitude can heal a broken heart. A simple gift given with gratitude can restore hope. A moment of prayer offered in thankfulness can shift the course of an entire day. Gratitude transforms what seems small into something eternal. But here is the deepest truth. When you live every day with thankfulness, your entire life becomes a miracle. People begin to look at you and see peace when you should have been anxious, joy when you should have been bitter, strength when you should have been broken. Gratitude creates a testimony. Your life itself becomes proof that thankfulness is not just a posture, it is power. And so, as we close, let me remind you, every morning you wake up, thank Him. Every breath you take, thank Him. Every step you walk, thank Him. Gratitude will turn your nights into mornings, your trials into testimonies, your waiting into winning. When you choose to live thankful, nothing in your life will ever be ordinary again, because thankfulness transforms the ordinary into the miraculous. And the question you must carry with you is this: if gratitude holds this much power, why would you ever live a single day without it?